Hola, it's Maren, and we are gonna learn a little more Spanish, I guess, but culture. So we are going to learn today about Día de los Muertos. So, you might have heard about this. If you've seen the movie Coco, very good movie, I recommend it. It is very accurate to the culture of this holiday or this celebration. And today we're going to learn a little bit about it, where it comes from, how it's celebrated, where it's celebrated, and just all of those fun details. Alright, so Dia de los Muertos translates to Day of the Dead. Okay, so Dia means day, of the dead. Very easy translation, fairly literal. So this holiday is primarily celebrated in Mexico and by Mexican immigrants. So we may see some of it here in the US because there are some Mexican immigrants and they celebrate it. And so it is particularly in the central and south regions of Mexico. Actually, the northern region of Mexico didn't celebrate it until like the 20th century because their indigenous population just didn't have this holiday. And so once people started moving around and talking about it, then they were like, oh, cool, we'll do that too. So yeah, it originates in Mexico with the indigenous Mexican population. So, Mexico. And I'm just going to read the definition here on Wikipedia. So it says, the multi-day holiday involves family and friends gathering to pray for and remember friends and family members who have died and helping support their spiritual journey. In Mexican culture, death is viewed as a natural part of the human cycle. Mexicans view it not as a day of sadness, but as a day of celebration because their loved ones awaken and celebrate with them. So, this is a very cool holiday and I'm very excited to tell you guys about it. So, where did this come from? So this started as an Aztec festival dedicated to the goddess Mitecacihuatl. I definitely butchered that, but this is an Aztec word, so it is very hard to pronounce. I've had a little bit of practice learning about Mexican culture, but it's still really hard. I mean, at least for me, an English speaker. Wow. An English speaker. Alright, so we're just gonna call her Mickey. Mictecacihuatl. Mickey. Her name literally translates to Lady of the Dead. So she is Queen of Mictlan, which is the underworld in Aztec tradition, and so she rules over the afterlife with her husband, who also has a name that I'm not going to even try to pronounce. And so her role is to watch over the bones of the dead and to preside over the ancient festivals of the dead. So she presides over Dia de los Muertos. So our girl, Mickey, pretty cool. Alright, so you might be thinking, when is Dia de los Muertos? And I'm here to tell you. So, here is the schedule of Dia de los Muertos. So, it starts on October 31st, which is Halloween here in America. And so that is All Hallows Eve. That's where that word comes from. And so on All Hallows Eve, the children make a children's altar to invite the angelitos, which is like little angels, so the spirits of dead children, to come back for a visit. So that's that day is mostly about the kids. And then the next day, November 1st, which is All Saints Day, is when the adult spirits come to visit. And then November 2nd is All Souls Day, and so that is when families go to the cemetery and they decorate graves and they celebrate the lives of their family members who have passed. And so that is when the party, I guess, takes place more in the cemetery. But all 3 days is the festival of Dia de los Muertos. So it is filled with marigolds, which are the flower that represent the dead in Mexican culture. Then all of their decorations include sugar skulls, cardboard skeletons, those tissue paper cutouts I'm sure you've probably seen in like movies or TV or a Spanish classroom if you have a Spanish class. And then they also celebrate with incense and lots of traditional foods, which we will get into now. So that's the schedule. Here we are. Ignore that beautiful picture. So we're going to talk about ofrendas. So I bet you're wondering, what do you do in a graveyard to celebrate someone? Like, that's just a pile of dirt and their body's way down there. That's not a lot of fun. Guess what? They make it fun. So they make what are called ofrendas, which translates to altars. So you make a little altar and you cover it with flowers and pictures of your family members who have passed and foods that they liked. Basically anything you want that represents them. And so then you have your little ofrenda and you get to celebrate their life with your family, and it's just a big fun party. And so the intent of ofrendas is to have a place to encourage their soul to visit, so that you can then that soul can then hear the prayers and comments and stuff directed towards them from their living family members. And it sounds like it could be really sad, but it very much is not. It's a very happy environment. They often tell funny stories or sing songs, and it's just a really great place for them to kind of congregate and invite the soul of their loved one and just have a big family party. It's pretty fun. All right, so I mentioned earlier that on the ofrendas, sometimes you put food. And so we are going to talk about some of the special food for the festival and also just common foods. So probably the most common dish made for this holiday is tamales, or tamales, which are like a cornmeal dough with then like meat and stuff in the middle. So that's the most common like normal food that you can eat all year round. But here we have their special food. So like at Christmas we have like sugar cookies or like peppermint stuff, you know. So they have pan de muerto, which literally translates to bread of the dead, which is kind of fun. So pan de muerto is a sweet kind of bun, and it is commonly decorated with like bone-shaped dough. So like the same dough, just like a bone on top. It's kind of fun. And then they also have calaveras, which is a sugar skull, and it is typically just for display because it's just straight sugar. Like, you wouldn't want to eat it necessarily. And so they have colorful, bright designs to represent the vitality and the original personalities of those who passed. So that's super fun. And here, I'm not the best artist, but I drew a little skull because that's, you know, their symbol. This is what Dia De Los Muertos is about. This is a calavera. So calavera can mean the sugar skull, or it can just mean like this image, basically. So just a skull covered in bright colors, fun shapes, very happy. Mine looks bad, but I'm sure you've seen something like this. If you have seen Coco, again, I'm gonna plug Coco. It's very good, very accurate to this celebration. So when he's in like the afterlife world, everyone looks like that. It's kind of cool. Alright, so there are lots of different local traditions in Mexico depending on the region and all that, which is true of any culture and any celebration. So not every celebration of Dia de los Muertos is gonna look the same, but this is a very vague overview of the holiday. It's really fun. Alright, I hope that you enjoyed this and that you learned a little bit about Mexican culture with me. I encourage you to do a little research about this on your own if you're interested, and watch the Disney Pixar film, Coco. It's very good. It has very, very good information. and that's a lot more about like the culture, what it's like actually experiencing it. It's really dope. Check it out. Anyway. See you guys next time. Adios.